Synergy track bar brace bracket with sector shaft brace. So this is it right here. So this is gonna be it's going over the track bar bracket and then up on the frame, like where your steering box bolts are. Very nice bracket, very good quality, very nice welds, very reinforced, and definitely worth the money. So basically it goes on the frame, and then you have this piece that bolts in that goes for your sector shaft on your steering box. So it's like a 2-in-1 type deal. Very nice. And as you guys know, the Jeep JLs and the JTs have a factory defect, you know, like where the frame is right there on the steering box. So it like separates in and out when you're driving down the road, and it causes a lot of death wobble or wobble, any type of deflection or whatever on these newer Jeeps. So it's a very bad thing. And you know, obviously with us running the 40-inch tires and B-locks, it's a little bit heavier than most setups out there. So we do have a little bit of a wobble there, so we're trying to dial it in and get everything as solid as possible. So Synergy has made a ton of these brackets to fix this factory issue, and a lot of people have gotten them. So it's been really hard to get our hands on one just because of the demand right now. So it comes with the bracket itself, and then, you know, obviously this is part of the bracket, the aluminum sector shaft brace piece, and then a bag of hardware. So we'll kind of sort through that. I got the instructions right here, so we're going to be taking a look at that here in a second, getting all the torque specs ready and making sure we have the right size socket. So I just had to run to Northern Tool actually to get a 42mm socket for this sector shaft nut here. It fits pretty good. It's a 6-point socket, and I believe it fits on the factory sector shaft nut too. So you know, it's on the bottom of the steering box where the pitman arm is. So we're not actually going to be removing the pitman arm, we're just going to be removing the nut for that, for the brace part to go up over it, and then this will kind of like hold the nut in place like that. So we'll be able to show you a little bit better in a little bit. But probably going to be taking both tires off because we are adding coil spacers in the front just to level it out a little bit, because it does have a slight rake in the front currently, and it's kind of getting on my nerves a little bit. So we're gonna add some coil spacers in the front just to level it out just a little bit, especially when we get a front bumper on here. It'll add more weight, so definitely needed right now. So probably gonna do all that at once and get it all knocked out. This is not going to be a how-to tutorial in-depth video. Whale Life actually did a very good one that is really good to follow along with, so check that out. But I'm going to be taking you guys along for the ride, showing you some tips or tricks that we learned through the process, or issues that we run into, maybe something different. Alright, here's the sector shaft nut. This is the factory one, and they put like a bunch of red Loctite on it. I assume it's what it looks like, but it was really hard to get off even with the impact, and it's it's like a hot potato right now. It's actually kind of hard to hold because it's so hot from working it back and forth, but got it off finally, and you know, with the 42mm socket. So should be ready to slap on the new one. So we'll be doing Loctite with that. I'm gonna look at the instructions and double check on what they recommend, blue or red Loctite. Included red Loctite, but I've seen blue used before, so I'm gonna check that out really quick and torque that to spec. Okay, so the new Synergy track bar brace sector shaft bracket does not fit where it's supposed to on my JT. For some reason, I don't know if the newer JT models, they added some kind of extra plating for reinforcement up here. Yeah, this does not fit. Everything is done accordingly to the instructions. There's nothing in the way. There's no extra bolts. Steering box is not in the way. The only thing I can think of is if Jeep started doing some kind of addition to these frame sections here to where it's making it difficult to fit, but I'm gonna keep messing with it and I'll let you know what I end up doing. Okay, I have figured out, it says that some Jeep frames will have welds on, where the bracket slides over that may need to be ground down. I have not seen anybody else have to do that before, so I guess mine is a little bit different, but that's the case here apparently. So I'm gonna have to whip out the grinder real quick, and as you can see, let's see, about right there and right there, up here, that's kind of telling me where I'm gonna have to grind down. I'm gonna take a look at that, grind down what I can, nice and flush, so I have to fix that up, and if I have to, I'll take some off of, just a little bit of material off the inside of this bracket. So I mean, that's not going to hurt anything. It won't mess with the structural integrity whatsoever, or at least the way that I'm going to do it won't. So I'm going to be very mindful of that. So no big deal, just got to clearance things just a tiny hair and we will be good to go. Hardware laid out down here as well, so I'm getting everything organized and figuring out where all the bolts go. So I'm going to get all those in loosely before we tighten them up. Alright, so here we have Synergy front track bar. So heavy duty track bar. It's going to hopefully fix the final deflection issue that we have with the JT system here. So as you guys know, we just did the sector shaft brace right there, steering box and track bar. You know, this Skyjacker track bar is pretty flimsy, so it's meant to center the axle. It's not really designed to be super beefy to, you know, take abuse. And we do have a steering stabilizer, so, you know, we did relocate it there. So we got the Synergy relocate, PSC clamp. Alright, so here it is. It's a little bit different than what I've seen previously before. New design kind of type stuff. I've got so many Synergy stickers, it's not even funny. I got like a whole box of them. But yeah, so this is fresh powder coat. Came in with some nice little dings there. But this is an interesting joint. Looks like it's pressed in. I mean, it kind of looks like it has a set screw. Maybe you can replace this easily. Not sure. Interesting. I've not seen this before. It looks factory styled, so that's kind of cool. Powder coat looks fresh though. It looks really good. Let's see. This joint is I mean, it looks kind of offset. I mean, you can kind of tell the shank on it is like to the side and kind of bent like naturally, you know, how they made it. So very interesting seeing how that is done. Probably gonna place this to where if this nut ever comes off, the bolt's not gonna fall out. Probably gonna have to put a little bit of Loctite on that, maybe. It looks like it's a Stover nut, so it should hold tight on the threads. I'm not sure. It looks like they've already got it adjusted to where you don't have to adjust this individually from this, since you have like 3 thread situations going on right here. So you have track bar, adjustment sleeve, and then the joint. So it looks like they've already got it set up to where it's equal for that. So all you have to do is turn and adjust this. So a lot easier for installation. And it also looks like they already have anti-seize in here, which is really nice. Looks like it's worth the money so far. So really cool. Gonna tear into the instructions here and see if they've got any recommended tips on making this fast and efficient. So torque specs and all that, obviously, so we'll be looking at that. And looks like they're explaining some of the offset twisted joint here type deal. And I've got the track bar brace bracket as that's in the picture too, so that's kind of cool being able to relate all that and see that. So that's kind of how mine looks, minus the drag link and all that, because we have Fusion 4x4 steering. So yeah, gonna be pretty simple install. I'm gonna rip the old one out real quick. This is pretty beefy. You know, make some adjustments and measurements off of the old one to kind of get us close to where we're going to be wanting to sit, and then kind of do like a little self alignment for now. So that way we'll have the axle as center as possible for now anyway, until we can get an alignment. Okay, so here is the Skyjacker next to the Synergy. Got the track bar out. I'm about to throw the Synergy one in, so, and then we'll make adjustments as needed to get it fitted up, and then measure up. So I mean, really not a whole lot to it. Okay, so it is installed. Both bolts are torqued to 110 foot-pounds, is what the instructions said. So looking good. And all I have to do now is just adjust the adjustment sleeve right here to get the measurement the same on both sides, get the axle nice and center, and then tighten down this bolt and nut right there. It'll be good to go. About to throw the stabilizer back on. That shouldn't take more than 3 seconds. So here is the final sector shaft track bar brace bracket installed, and it is it's very nice. It's very stout and everything. It's a really cool design. It looks fancy, you know, all up in here around the sector shaft. So got it greased up, everything ready to roll, rock and roll. It wasn't really as much of grinding on the welds on this one to really make it fit. It was more of kind of like slamming it with a sledgehammer, like on the factory track bar bracket, to kind of dent in the outer edge of it to get it to clearance, because the bolt hole wouldn't slide over enough to fit that bolt. So that was ultimately what really was required to make it fit. So did not harm the factory one in the process, and even if we did, it's okay, because it's reinforced and bolted up to here, and the sector shaft, I mean, it's just all solid. So already taken it for a test drive, and it is doing really well. So have not really noticed much of a difference, honestly. That's why we just installed the Synergy track bar. Alright guys, just finished. So basically adjusted this. I measured, put the tape measure in that little hole right there for the coil perch bucket or whatever, and measured to this little line on the tread right there on both sides. I moved the sleeve down to go passenger side and up to go driver's side. So I just kind of went back and forth and figured out, you know, met it in the middle there. So it's pretty spot on to being center, at least for now anyways, until we get an alignment. So it should be good. And torqued the bolt for that for 90 foot-pounds. So